Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge of his cargo ship and watched the blue-skinned aliens tear through his supplies again. This was the 15th time this month that Vorthon customs agents had boarded the New Soul. They claimed they were looking for illegal weapons, but Minho knew better. They just wanted to show humans who was really in charge. "Captain, they're taking the medical supplies again," said his first officer, Lieutenant Kim Dae-ho. The young man's hands were shaking with anger. Those medicines were going to sick children on New Busan Colony. Minho put a hand on his officer's shoulder. "Stay calm, Dae-ho. Getting angry won't help anyone." But inside, Minho felt his own rage building. For 63 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Confederation. For 63 years, they had been treated like children who couldn't be trusted with anything important. The lead Vorthon agent walked onto the bridge. His name was Commander Vextal, and he had made Minho's life difficult for the past 2 years. "Human Captain," he said in his rough voice, "your cargo manifest shows medical supplies, but we found suspicious energy readings." "Those are cooling units for the medicine," Minho replied calmly. "Children's vaccines need to stay cold or they stop working." Vextal's 4 eyes looked at Minho with disgust. "Humans always have excuses. We are keeping the supplies for further testing." "How long will that take?" asked Lieutenant Kim. "As long as we decide it takes," Vextal said. He turned to his soldiers. "Take everything in Cargo Bay 3. Leave the human his empty boxes." Minho watched helplessly as soldiers carried away medicines that had cost his colony 3 months' worth of trade income. When the Vorthons finally left, he sat down heavily in his captain's chair. "Sir, this isn't right," said Kim Dae-ho. "We're supposed to be equal members of the Confederation." Minho laughed bitterly. "Equal? When was the last time you saw a human in charge of anything important? We drive cargo ships and clean space stations while aliens make all the real decisions." 3 days later, Dr. Park Ji-woo received the worst news of her career. She sat in her small office on Research Station Alpha 7, staring at the message on her computer screen. 5 years of work on faster-than-light communication had just been stolen from her. "Dr. Park," said her assistant, a nervous human woman named Lee Yujin. "The Keth Raleigh Science Council wants to see you." Ji-woo walked to the council chamber on shaking legs. Inside, 3 tall gray aliens sat behind a curved desk. Their leader, Science Minister Kulrath, spoke without looking up from his papers. "Dr. Park, your research on quantum communication has been very useful," he said. "We are giving the project to Dr. Veshkal. He has more experience with advanced technology." "But sir," Ji-woo said, trying to keep her voice steady, "this is my life's work. I discovered how to make quantum particles talk to each other across space. Dr. Veshkal doesn't even understand the basic math." Kulrath finally looked at her. His large black eyes showed no emotion. "Humans are good at simple discoveries, Dr. Park, but complex projects need alien supervision. Dr. Veshkal will make sure your ideas are used properly." "You mean he'll put his name on my work and win prizes for it?" Ji-woo said. "You should be honored that your small contribution will help the greater galaxy," another council member said. "This meeting is over." Ji-woo walked out of the chamber feeling like someone had torn her heart out. 5 years of working 18 hours a day, 5 years of solving problems that alien scientists said were impossible, and now some lazy Keth Raleigh would get all the credit. On the industrial planet of New Factory, engineer Kim Hana discovered something that made her blood boil. She was checking the news feeds when she saw an advertisement for the revolutionary new Vorthon shield generators that would protect Confederation ships better than ever before. The shields were identical to her designs. Every circuit, every energy pattern, every safety feature, it was all her work. But the patents belonged to Vorthon Military Industries, and they were making billions of credits while she struggled to afford basic equipment for her lab. Her partner, engineer Baek Min-soo, found her throwing tools around her workshop. "Hana, what's wrong?" "Look at this," she screamed, showing him the advertisement. "They stole my shield designs. I spent 2 years figuring out how to make energy barriers that could stop plasma weapons, and now they're selling it as their own invention." Min-soo looked at the ad and shook his head sadly. "This happens to human inventors all the time. Remember when Cho Youngmin invented the gravity drive? 3 months later, the Draknari were claiming they had developed it centuries ago. It's not fair," Hana said. "We create amazing things and they just take them away from us. What can we do?" Minsu asked. Humans don't have enough political power to fight the big alien corporations. Hana stared at her computer screen for a long time. Maybe we can't fight them, she said slowly, but we can stop helping them. The final straw came when Admiral Cho Jae-won was called before the Confederation Military Council. He had been the highest-ranking human in the fleet for 10 years, but that was about to change. Admiral Cho, said Fleet Commander Zekthor, a massive reptilian Draknari, you have been asking too many questions about colony defense. Sir, human colonies are being raided by pirates almost every week, Jae-won replied. When I request military support, I'm told no ships are available. But when the Kethrali homeworld had one pirate attack, you sent 50 warships. The Kethrali are a more important species, said another council member, a floating jellyfish-like aquarian. They contribute more to Confederation science and culture. Humans contribute plenty, Jae-won said. Our farmers feed half the galaxy. Our engineers design most of your technology. Our doctors— Enough! Zekthor slammed his clawed fist on the table. Humans are useful, but they are not leaders. You ask too many questions and cause too much trouble. You are demoted to captain and transferred to patrol duty in the Outer Rim. Jae-won felt 30 years of loyal service being thrown away like garbage. Sir, with respect, this meeting is over, Captain Cho, Zekthor said. Report to your new assignment immediately. 2 weeks later, 4 humans met in secret on an abandoned mining station in the Kepler Nebula. Captain Lee Min-ho, Dr. Park Ji-woo, Engineer Kim Hana, and now Captain Cho Jae-won sat around a small table in the station's old cafeteria. They think we're just going to keep taking this forever, Min-ho said. My life's work stolen, and I'm supposed to say thank you, Ji-woo added bitterly. Every invention I create, they steal and put their names on, said Hana. 30 years of service, and they throw me away like trash, Jae-won finished. They sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Ji-woo spoke up. What if we stopped helping them? She asked quietly. What do you mean? Asked Min-ho. I mean, what if humans just left? Stopped working for the Confederation. Stopped inventing things for them to steal. Stopped growing food for them to eat. Stopped fixing their machines when they break. Hana's eyes lit up. I've been thinking the same thing. Do you know how much of their technology depends on human designs? Their power systems, their computers, their life support, we built most of it. But where would we go? Asked Min-ho. They control most of the galaxy. Jae-won smiled for the first time in weeks. Actually, they don't. There are thousands of unexplored systems out there. And thanks to Ji-woo's communication research, we could stay in touch with each other across any distance. You're talking about the entire human species leaving the Confederation, Min-ho said slowly. Why not? Ji-woo asked. What has the Confederation ever done for us except steal our work and treat us like servants? They talked for hours, planning something that had never been attempted before. The complete withdrawal of an entire species from galactic civilization. By the time they finished, they had agreed on one thing. If the galaxy wanted to treat humans like they didn't matter, then they would show the galaxy what happened when humans really disappeared. When do we start? Asked Hana. We already have, said Jae-won. He activated a secure communicator. This is Admiral Cho. Yes, I'm keeping my real rank. To all human cells across the galaxy. Operation Exodus is now active. It's time to show them what they're really losing. The 4 humans shook hands in the dim light of the abandoned station, not knowing that they were about to change the fate of the entire galaxy. The age of human patience was over. The age of consequences was about to begin. Dr. Park Ji-woo sat in her lab on Research Station Alpha 7 and activated the most secret project of her career. For the past 5 years, while working on her official communication research, she had been building something else entirely. A hidden network that connected every human in the galaxy. Protocol Exodus is now active, she spoke into her communicator. Within seconds, her words were being heard by humans on thousands of worlds across the galaxy. Farmers on agricultural planets, engineers on space stations, doctors in alien hospitals, teachers in Confederation schools. All of them received the same message at exactly the same time. Commander Yoon Seojin was the first to respond. She led a secret organization that had been preparing for this day for over a decade. All human intelligence assets begin Phase 1 withdrawal, she said into her own communicator. Make it look normal. No one should suspect anything until it's too late. On the cargo ship New Seoul, Captain Lee Minho was already putting the plan into action. Instead of following his normal trade route to the busy Vorthan commercial sectors, he quietly changed course toward the empty systems near the galaxy's edge. "Sir, this isn't our usual path," said Lieutenant Kim Dae-ho. "We're making a small detour," Minho replied. "There are some old mining stations out here that need supplies." This was partly true. Humans had been secretly setting up supply depots in abandoned systems for years, preparing for the day when they might need to disappear completely. The mining station in the Kepler Nebula where the four leaders had met was just one of hundreds. Humans had been quietly building hidden bases, growing food in secret underground farms, and creating technology that no other species knew about. Engineer Kim Hana was busy in her workshop, but not on any official Confederation project. She was installing special hidden programs into every piece of equipment she had ever designed. These programs would stay dormant until she activated them, but when that time came, every shield generator, every power system, every computer core that contained her work would start having random failures. "Are you sure this will work?" asked her partner Baek Min-soo. "Oh, it'll work," Hana said with a cold smile. "I've been putting backdoors in everything I've built for the past 3 years. When I flip the switch, half the technology in this galaxy will suddenly stop working properly." On the military base at Titan Station, Admiral Cho Jae-won was having his final meeting with the Confederation command staff. They had demoted him, but they still needed his knowledge to understand human military units. "Admiral, sorry." "Captain Cho," said Fleet Commander Zekthor. "We need a report on human fleet capabilities." "Of course, sir," Jae-won replied politely. But the report he gave was completely false. He told them that human ships were outdated and poorly armed, that human soldiers were undisciplined, and that human colonies had weak defenses. The aliens nodded and wrote everything down, never suspecting that they were being fed lies. After the meeting, Jae-won activated his own communicator. "All human military personnel, begin rotation home for training exercises. Make sure you take all your personal equipment with you." Across the galaxy, humans began disappearing from their jobs. But they did it so carefully that no one noticed at first. Dr. Song Mirae, the head surgeon at Keth Raleigh General Hospital, announced that she was taking a vacation to visit her family. She left on a transport ship, but instead of going to Earth, she went to a secret human colony in the Outer Rim. Lieutenant Nam Hyuk was supposed to be flying routine patrols around the Dreknari home system. Instead, he was secretly evacuating human families from dangerous areas and taking them to hidden safe zones. His official report said everything was normal, but his real job was saving lives. Teacher Park Soon-mi told her alien students that she was attending a conference on human education methods. She left her classroom on the industrial world of New Factory and never came back. Her replacement was a hologram program that kept teaching for weeks before anyone realized she was gone. The evacuation was the largest secret operation in galactic history. Millions of humans, from important scientists to simple farmers, quietly left their homes and jobs. They took with them all their knowledge, all their skills, and all their essential equipment. Scientist Bae Yuna was coordinating the communication network from her hidden base in an asteroid field. Every few hours, she received reports from human agents across the galaxy. The reports all said the same thing. Humans were disappearing, and no one in the alien governments had noticed yet. "How are the numbers looking?" asked Commander Yoon Seojin during one of their secret video calls. "Better than expected," Yuna replied. 87% of essential human personnel have been evacuated. The rest will be gone within 2 weeks. And the aliens? They think we're all just taking vacations or attending training courses. Some Vorthon administrator actually complained that humans were requesting too much leave time. At the Confederation Central Command, bureaucrats were starting to notice small problems. Several human engineers had failed to show up for important maintenance work. A few human doctors had canceled their shifts at major hospitals. Some human farmers hadn't delivered their usual crops on schedule, but the alien administrators weren't worried. "Humans are always emotional and unreliable," said Vorthon Administrator Kexville. "They'll come back when they get hungry." What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had been planning this for a very long time. Secret supply ships had been moving food and equipment to hidden colonies for years. Underground farms on distant worlds were already producing enough crops to feed millions of people. Human engineers had built factories in empty star systems where they could make everything they needed. The most important part of the plan was keeping all the human colonies connected. Dr. Park Ji-woo's quantum communication system allowed instant conversation across any distance. While alien governments were starting to lose contact with their own colonies as human-maintained communication networks began failing, humans could talk to each other perfectly. "This is New Korea colony," came a voice over the quantum radio. "We have finished moving our population to the hidden base. All our farms and factories are now completely invisible to alien sensors." "Understood, New Korea," replied Bae Yuna from her asteroid base. "New Tokyo and New Mumbai report similar status. The evacuation is proceeding perfectly." On his ship, Captain Lee Minho was leading a convoy of human vessels toward their new home in the Kepler Nebula. Behind them, they left empty space stations and abandoned trade routes. The aliens would soon discover that their most reliable shipping companies had simply vanished. Engineer Kim Hana was putting the finishing touches on her secret project, a master control system that could activate all the hidden programs she had installed in alien technology. When she pressed this button, power plants would start having mysterious failures. Computer systems would develop strange errors, and weapons would suddenly stop working properly. "When do we start the fireworks?" asked Baek Minsu. "Not yet," Hana replied. "Let's give them a few more weeks to realize how badly they need us. Then we'll show them what happens when they take human engineers for granted." Admiral Cho Jae-won was at the secret human military base they had built inside a hollow asteroid. Around him, thousands of human soldiers and officers were preparing for whatever came next. They had taken with them the best ships, the most advanced weapons, and all the tactical knowledge they had gained from decades of service. "Sir," said Commander Park Soon-ho, "our scouts report that Confederation forces are starting to notice the disappearances. They're asking questions about where all the humans went." "Let them ask," Jae-won replied. "By the time they figure out what's really happening, it'll be too late to stop us." The plan was working perfectly. For 63 years, humans had been the invisible foundation that kept galactic civilization running. They fixed the machines, grew the food, designed the technology, and solved the problems that alien species couldn't handle. Now, for the first time in decades, the galaxy was going to discover what life was like without human help. Dr. Park Ji-woo sent one final message over the quantum network. "All evacuation teams, prepare for Phase 2. In 72 hours, we begin showing the galaxy exactly what they've lost." 3 days later, engineer Kim Hana sat in her new workshop in the Kepler Nebula, her finger hovering over a single red button. Around her, millions of humans were safely hidden in bases that no alien sensor could detect. The largest species migration in galactic history was complete. "Are you ready to change the galaxy forever?" asked Admiral Cho Jae-won over the communicator. Hana smiled and pressed the button. "Let's show them what happens when humans run out of patience." Across thousands of star systems, alien technology that had worked perfectly for decades suddenly began to fail in mysterious ways. The age of consequences had begun. Engineer Kim Hana watched her computer screen as thousands of red warning lights appeared across the galaxy map. Each light represented a piece of technology that was now failing exactly as she had planned. "Systems failing on Vorthan Prime," reported her assistant tech specialist Han Doyen. "Their main power grid is experiencing random shutdowns. They think it's solar interference," Hana laughed coldly. "Solar interference? That's what they always blame when they don't understand what's really happening." She pressed another button, and more lights appeared on the map. "Let's see how they explain this." On the Kethrali homeworld, the massive city ship that housed their government was having problems. The artificial gravity kept turning on and off randomly, making important alien officials float around like balloons during meetings. The life support systems were producing air that smelled terrible, even though all the readings said everything was normal. Dr. Kwon Minji, a human psychologist who was now safely hidden in the Kepler Nebula, monitored alien communication networks. "The Kethrali Science Council is completely confused," she reported to Admiral Cho Jae-won. "They're running tests on everything, but they can't find any problems. The equipment says it's working fine, but nothing actually works." This was the beauty of Kim Hana's plan. The hidden programs she had installed didn't break anything completely. They just made everything work badly. Computers would run slowly for no reason. Weapons would miss their targets by tiny amounts. Spaceships would have navigation errors that put them slightly off course. It's like giving the entire galaxy a bad day every day, Hana explained to her team. Nothing breaks completely, so they can't figure out what's wrong. But nothing works quite right either. The problem started small. On the ocean world of Aquatica, the water purification plants began producing water that tasted strange. It wasn't dangerous, but millions of alien citizens complained about the odd flavor. The plant managers ran every test they could think of, but everything appeared normal. General Shin Woo-jin was coordinating human military forces from their secret base. His job was to make sure that when the aliens finally realized what was happening, humans would be ready to defend themselves. "Sir, we're getting reports that Draknari warships are having targeting problems," said his aide, Colonel Kim Young-ho. "Their weapons keep missing enemy pirates by small amounts during battles." "Perfect," replied General Shin. "Let them think their crews are just having bad luck. By the time they figure out their equipment is sabotaged, we'll be ready for whatever they try to do." Dr. Park Ji-woo was monitoring the quantum communication network from her hidden laboratory. While alien civilizations struggled with failing technology, humans maintained perfect contact with each other across any distance. "New Sol colony reporting successful harvest," came a voice over the quantum radio. "We're now producing enough food to feed 3 million people." "New Berlin base confirms completion of weapons factory," said another voice. "We can now build our own defense systems without depending on alien suppliers." "New Tokyo Research Station has finished developing the new stealth technology," reported a third voice. "Alien sensors still cannot detect any of our hidden bases. The greatest advantage humans had was that the galaxy had no idea where they had gone." Advanced stealth technology, originally developed by human engineers for Confederation use, now protected every human base and ship. To alien sensors, the humans had simply vanished completely. Meanwhile, the cascade of failures was getting worse. On the industrial world of New Factory, the massive manufacturing plants that produced goods for half the galaxy were having mysterious problems. Assembly lines would suddenly stop for no reason. Quality control systems would reject perfectly good products. Transport ships would arrive at the wrong loading docks. Commander Yoon Seo-jin was leading intelligence-gathering operations from her base in an asteroid field. Her agents, still hidden among the alien populations, sent regular reports about how the different species were reacting to the crisis. "The Vorthons are starting to panic," she reported during a meeting with the other human leaders. "Their trade networks are failing because they can't maintain their navigation computers without human technicians." "What about the Draknari?" asked Admiral Cho Jae-won. "They're trying to solve everything with military force as usual. But their weapon systems are having the same problems as everyone else. They attacked a pirate base last week and missed most of their targets. Dr. Lim So-young was working on developing new technologies that only humans would know how to use. We need to make sure that even if they figure out what we've done, they won't be able to fix it," she explained to her research team. "How do we do that?" asked one of her assistants. "By building everything completely differently from how they expect it to work. Our computers will use quantum processors they've never seen. Our ships will have engines based on principles they don't understand. Our weapons will use energy types they can't detect." The plan was working better than anyone had hoped. After 3 months of mysterious failures, alien governments were starting to realize they had a serious problem, but they still hadn't figured out that humans were the cause. On the Confederation Central Command Station, emergency meetings were happening every day. Representatives from dozens of species were demanding answers about why their technology was failing. "The Aquarians report that their underwater cities are having life support problems," said one official. "The Zephyrians say their flying cities keep having navigation errors. The Crystalline Collective claims their computer networks are running slower every day." "What about the humans?" asked Fleet Commander Zekthor. "Maybe they can help us figure out what's wrong." "That's part of the problem," replied Administrator Kexival. "We can't find the humans. They all seem to have disappeared for training exercises and vacations. None of them are answering our calls." This was when the aliens started to get worried. For the first time, they began to realize how much they had depended on human engineers, scientists, and technicians. Every time something broke, they had always called a human to fix it. Every time they had a technical problem, a human had solved it. Captain Lee Minho was leading supply runs between the hidden human colonies. His ships moved through space completely invisible to alien sensors, carrying food, equipment, and people between the secret bases. "Captain, we're getting distress calls from Confederation ships," reported Lieutenant Kim Dae-ho. "3 different alien freighters are lost because their navigation systems failed." "Are they asking for help?" asked Minho. "Yes, sir. They're broadcasting emergency signals, asking for any ships in the area to assist them." Minho thought for a moment. "Send them the coordinates for the nearest Confederation rescue station. But don't reveal ourselves. Let their own people help them." This was the hardest part of the plan for many humans. They were naturally helpful people, and it was difficult to watch others suffer, even aliens who had treated them badly. But the human leaders had decided that the galaxy needed to learn this lesson the hard way. Engineer Kim Hana was preparing the next phase of system failures. "So far, we've only affected civilian technology," she explained to her team. "Power plants, water systems, transportation networks. But if they don't start taking us seriously, we'll have to move to military systems." "Won't that be dangerous?" asked Baek Min-soo. "If their defense systems fail, pirates and other criminals will attack innocent people." "That's why we're being careful," Hana replied. "We're not trying to cause wars or kill people. We just want them to understand that they need us." The psychological pressure was building across the galaxy. Dr. Kwon Minji's analysis of alien communications showed increasing stress, confusion, and anger among the alien populations. "The Draknari are blaming the Kethrali for the technology failures," she reported. "The Kethrali think the Vorthons are sabotaging their equipment. Everyone suspects everyone else, but no one has figured out the real cause." "Good," said Admiral Cho Jae-won. "Confusion and mistrust will make it harder for them to organize against us when they finally realize what's happening." But the time for hiding was almost over. On the Confederation Central Command Station, a brilliant alien scientist named Dr. Zeknal was starting to piece together the pattern. "Look at these failure reports," he told his research team. "Every system that's having problems was either designed by humans or maintained by humans, and all the humans have mysteriously disappeared at the same time." "You think the humans are sabotaging our technology?" asked his assistant. "I think the humans are gone, and we're finally seeing how much we depended on them," Dr. Zeknal replied. "We need to find them immediately." The alien governments launched massive search operations, sending scout ships to every known human colony. But they found only empty buildings and abandoned farms. The humans had vanished completely, taking with them all their knowledge and skills. On the secret human base in the Kepler Nebula, President Song Ji-hye was preparing for the next phase of the plan. She had been elected leader of the newly formed independent Human Republic by representatives. "From all the hidden colonies, the aliens are starting to understand what they've lost," she announced to the assembled human leaders. "Soon they'll try to force us to come back. We need to be ready to show them that the age of taking humans for granted is over." For 6 months after the humans disappeared, the Zephyrian hive was facing its first famine in 1,000 years. On the floating cities that drifted through their gas giant's atmosphere, millions of insect-like aliens were going hungry because their food production systems had failed. "The bioreactors are not working correctly," reported hive worker Zexral to her superiors. "The nutrient mixture tastes wrong and many citizens are getting sick. We have tested everything, but we cannot find the problem." What the Zephyrians didn't know was that their entire food production system had been designed by human biotechnology experts. Without human maintenance and knowledge, the complex bacterial cultures that created their food were slowly dying. On the warrior world of Draknor, something even more embarrassing was happening. The proud Draknari military, feared across the galaxy for their fighting skills, were losing battles against small groups of pirates. Their weapons kept missing targets, their ships couldn't navigate properly, and their communication systems failed at critical moments. "This is impossible," roared General Kargoth as he watched another battle report. "How can a single pirate ship defeat 3 of our destroyers?" "Sir, our weapons are having targeting failures," replied his aide nervously. "The computer says the shots should hit, but they keep missing by small amounts." "Then fix the computers," Kargoth shouted. "We have tried, sir. Our best technicians cannot find any problems. Everything appears to be working normally." The truth was that Draknari technicians had never actually understood how their own weapons worked. For decades, they had depended on human engineers to design and maintain their targeting systems. Now those systems were failing in ways that no Draknari could comprehend or repair. Dr. Quan Minji was analyzing the psychological effects of the crisis from her hidden base. The alien species are showing classic signs of learned helplessness, she reported to the Human Leadership Council. For so long, they've depended on us to solve their technical problems that they've forgotten how to fix things themselves. President Song Ji-hee was preparing for the most important speech in human history. In her hands, she held data that would shock the galaxy, a complete analysis of humanity's true contribution to Confederation civilization. Are the numbers confirmed? She asked Dr. Lim So-young, who had been working with a team of economists and engineers to calculate humanity's impact. Yes, Madam President, Lim replied. Humans designed or significantly improved 73% of all critical infrastructure in the galaxy. We developed 89% of breakthrough technologies in the past 50 years. We provided the innovative solutions to virtually every major crisis the Confederation has faced. The data was staggering. Humans had invented the energy shields that protected alien worlds from asteroids. They had designed the water purification systems that kept ocean worlds clean. They had created the computer networks that allowed different species to communicate across vast distances. And they treated us like junior partners, Song said bitterly. They stole our inventions, ignored our ideas, and pushed us aside whenever we asked for equal treatment. Meanwhile, the Confederation Council was holding emergency sessions every day as the crisis deepened. Fleet Commander Zekthor was trying to organize a military response, but his forces were in no condition to fight anyone. How many ships are combat ready? He asked his staff. Less than 30%, sir, replied Admiral Vexcol. The rest are having various system failures. Weapons that won't fire, shields that won't activate, engines that break down randomly. What about ground forces? Similar problems, sir. Personal weapons are unreliable, communication equipment fails during operations, and transport vehicles keep breaking down. It was then that Dr. Zeknal presented his completed analysis to the Council. Honorable representatives, he said, I have discovered the cause of our technological failures. Every system that is malfunctioning was either designed by humans or depends on human-created components. The Council chamber fell silent. For the first time, the alien leaders were beginning to understand the scope of their dependence on humanity. Are you saying the humans sabotaged our equipment? Asked Councillor Murthai, a jellyfish-like Aquarian. I am saying that when the humans left, they took with them the knowledge needed to maintain our civilization, Dr. Zeknal replied. Without them, everything is slowly breaking down. Then we must find them and force them to return, declared Fleet Commander Zekthor. With what? Asked Dr. Zeknal. Half our ships can't even navigate properly without human technicians. The search for the missing humans had already begun, but it was proving impossible. Every Confederation scout ship that entered the systems where humans were known to live found only empty colonies and abandoned space stations. Commander Yoon, Seojin was coordinating intelligence operations from her asteroid base. The aliens have sent over 300 search ships to look for us, she reported to Admiral Park. Sunho, none of them have detected our stealth fields. Good, replied Park Sunho, but they won't give up easily. Eventually, they'll try to force us out of hiding. That day came sooner than expected. Fleet Commander Zekthor, desperate and angry, made a decision that would change everything. He authorized military strikes against known human territories, hoping to force the hidden human bases to reveal themselves. If the humans won't come out voluntarily, we'll make them come out, he announced to his officers. Begin bombardment of all systems where humans were known to live. Admiral Park Sunho watched from the bridge of his flagship as Confederation warships entered the abandoned human systems and began firing on empty planets. The aliens were so desperate that they were attacking ghosts. Sir, should we respond? Asked his tactical officer, Captain Nam Hyok. Not yet, Park Sunho replied. Let them waste their ammunition on empty worlds, but prepare the fleet for combat. They'll find us eventually. The first real battle came when a Confederation patrol fleet stumbled across a human supply convoy near the edge of the Kepler Nebula. Commander Yoon Seojin was leading 3 transport ships loaded with food and medical supplies when 12 alien warships surrounded them. Human vessels. Surrender immediately, came the transmission from the Draknari fleet commander. "You will return to Confederation space and resume your duties." "I don't think so," Seojin replied calmly. She activated her ship's communication system. "All human units, this is Commander Seojin. We are under attack by Confederation forces, requesting immediate assistance." The alien fleet commander laughed. 3 cargo ships against 12 warships? You humans were always bad at mathematics. That's when Admiral Park Sun-ho's fleet appeared. 50 human warships materialized out of empty space, their advanced stealth systems disengaging simultaneously. The Confederation ships suddenly found themselves outnumbered 4-1 by vessels they couldn't even see coming. "Confederation fleet? This is Admiral Park Sun-ho of the Independent Human Republic," came the transmission. "You are in violation of human territorial space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The Battle of Titan Station, as it came to be known, lasted only 20 minutes. The human ships used weapons and tactics that the aliens had never seen before. Energy beams that passed through shields like they weren't there. Missiles that could think for themselves and change targets in flight. Ships that could become invisible and reappear anywhere on the battlefield. When it was over, the entire Confederation fleet had been disabled without a single human casualty. The alien ships floated helplessly in space, their weapon systems completely shut down, their crews unharmed but utterly defeated. "This is impossible," whispered the Draknari fleet commander as human rescue ships approached to offer medical assistance. "How did you develop such advanced technology so quickly?" "We didn't develop it quickly," replied Admiral Park Sun-ho. "We've been developing it for decades while you were stealing credit for our work. The difference is we never shared our best innovations with species who treated us as second-class citizens." The news of the battle spread across the galaxy in hours. For the first time, alien civilizations realized that humans hadn't just disappeared. They had been preparing for war, and they were winning. President Song Ji-hye decided it was time to address the galaxy. Using Dr. Park Ji-woo's quantum communication network, she broadcast a message that reached every inhabited world simultaneously. "People of the galaxy," she began. "For 63 years, humanity served the Confederation faithfully. We built your cities, designed your technology, grew your food, and solved your problems. In return, you treated us as servants and thieves stole our innovations." The broadcast showed detailed evidence of every human invention that had been stolen. Every human scientist whose work had been given to alien colleagues. Every human colony that had been left defenseless while alien worlds received protection. We asked for equality and were told we didn't deserve it. We asked for respect and were told we hadn't earned it. We asked for justice and were told to be grateful for what little we had. The data was overwhelming. Across the galaxy, alien citizens were learning for the first time how much they owed to human creativity and hard work. So, we decided to show you what life is like without human contribution. 1 year after the Battle of Titan Station, Fleet Commander Zekthor sat in his private quarters aboard the damaged Confederation flagship and stared at reports that made his proud warrior heart sink. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations were collapsing. The Ketharali Empire's capital world had been without reliable power for 3 weeks. Their proud scientists, who had claimed superiority over human researchers for decades, couldn't figure out how to fix generators that humans had designed. Millions of gray-skinned aliens were living in darkness, their advanced cities reduced to using primitive torches for light. On Aquatica, the ocean world was facing an environmental disaster. Without human-maintained water processing systems, toxic algae was spreading through the seas. The jellyfish-like aquarians were dying by the thousands, and their remaining scientists had no idea how to stop the ecological collapse. "Sir," said his aide, "we're receiving another surrender request, this time from the Zephyrian hive." Zekthor couldn't believe it. The Zephyrians controlled over 1,000 worlds and had been one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. "What are their conditions?" "They're willing to accept any terms if the humans will just fix their food production systems. Half their population is starving." This was the reality that no alien leader wanted to admit. They were completely helpless without human knowledge and skills. Every day brought new reports of critical systems failing, and every day more species begged for human assistance. Dr. Zeknal had been working desperately to find solutions, but his research had only confirmed humanity's devastating importance to galactic civilization. "Commander, I've completed the analysis you requested," he reported. "Without human intervention, We estimate that 60% of inhabited worlds will be unable to support life within 6 months. What about our own scientists and engineers? Asked Zekthor. They can maintain existing systems, but they cannot innovate or solve complex problems the way humans can. We've become so dependent on human creativity that we've forgotten how to think for ourselves. President Song Jihye received these reports from her flagship, the New Terra, with mixed feelings. She had never wanted to cause suffering, but the galaxy had left humanity no choice. "Madam President," said her aide, "we're receiving thousands of messages daily from alien worlds requesting assistance. Some are offering complete surrender if we'll just send engineers to fix their power plants." "Any word from the Confederation Council?" asked Song. "They're still demanding that we return to our previous status as junior members. Fleet Commander Zekthor claims that if we don't comply, they'll use military force to bring us back." Song laughed bitterly. "With what military? Our intelligence reports say that less than 20% of their fleet is combat ready." Admiral Park Sun-ho was monitoring the situation from his command post in the Kepler Nebula. Human scouts were reporting the same story from every corner of the galaxy. Alien civilizations were falling apart without human support. "Admiral, the Draknari are mobilizing their remaining functional warships," reported Captain Nam Hyok. "They're calling it the final strike against human terrorism." "How many ships?" asked Park Sun-ho. "About 300, sir. That's all they have left that can actually fight." Park Sun-ho shook his head sadly. The Draknari had once commanded the most powerful fleet in the galaxy, over 10,000 warships. Now they were reduced to a few hundred ships whose weapons barely worked. The final confrontation came when the desperate Confederation forces located the main human base in the Kepler Nebula. Fleet Commander Zekthor personally led the attack, hoping that one decisive victory would force humanity back into submission. "All ships, prepare for assault," he commanded as his fleet approached the nebula. "We will capture their leaders and end this rebellion once and for all." But as the Confederation ships entered the nebula, they discovered that they weren't attacking a single base. They were attacking an entire hidden civilization. Hundreds of human worlds, invisible to alien sensors, suddenly appeared around them. Thousands of human ships using technology decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed surrounded the Confederation fleet. General Shin Woo-jin was commanding the human defense from his flagship. "Confederation forces, this is your final warning," he transmitted. "Withdraw immediately or face total defeat. We outnumber you," Zekthor replied desperately. "You outnumber what you can see," said Admiral Park Sun-ho as his stealth fleet materialized around the alien ships. "But you cannot defeat what you cannot understand." The battle lasted less than an hour. Human weapons systematically disabled every alien ship without killing a single crew member. Advanced electromagnetic pulses shut down alien computers. Precision energy beams severed weapon systems without damaging life support. Boarding parties used non-lethal gas to subdue alien crews. When it was over, Fleet Commander Zekthor found himself sitting in his own brig, a prisoner aboard his own ship. Admiral Park Sun-ho stood outside the cell looking tired but victorious. "This is over, Zekthor," Park Sun-ho said quietly. "Your fleets are defeated, your worlds are dying, and your people are suffering. How many more need to suffer before you admit that you need us?" "We will never surrender to humans," Zekthor replied stubbornly. "We're not asking you to surrender," Park Sun-ho said. "We're asking you to treat us as equals." The next day, President Song Jihye addressed the galaxy again from the bridge of New Terra. This time, her message was broadcast from the heart of the Confederation's own territory, transmitted using their own communication networks that human technicians had repaired as a gesture of goodwill. "People of the galaxy, the time for conflict is over," she began. "The independent human republic offers peace to all species, but only on terms of complete equality." She outlined humanity's demands clearly and simply. Humans would return to help rebuild galactic civilization, but only as equal partners. All previous debts and obligations were forgiven, but stolen human innovations had to be properly credited. Human colonies would be autonomous and self-governing, protected by human military forces. "We offer our knowledge, our skills, and our friendship to any species willing to treat us with the respect that all intelligent beings deserve," Song continued. "But the days of humanity serving as the galaxy's unpaid workforce are over forever." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, over 300 alien governments had agreed to the terms. They had no choice. Their civilizations were collapsing without human help. Captain Lee Minho was among the first humans to return to Confederation space, leading a convoy of engineers and technicians to restore basic services to dying worlds. But now he flew under the flag of the independent Human Republic, and alien customs agents no longer dared to board his ships. "Sir, the Vorthons are requesting permission to inspect our cargo," reported Lieutenant Kim Daeho. "Tell them they're welcome to submit a formal diplomatic request through proper channels," Minho replied with satisfaction. "But they'll be inspecting the cargo of an independent nation, not defenseless merchants." Dr. Park Ji-woo returned to her research, but now she worked in the Institute for Cooperative Research, where scientists from all species contributed equally to advancing galactic knowledge. Her quantum communication discoveries had revolutionized space travel, and for the first time, she received full credit for her innovations. Engineer Kim Hana became the head of the Galactic Reconstruction Project, leading teams of humans and aliens working together to repair the damage caused by decades of poor maintenance. The hidden programs she had installed in alien technology were removed as systems were upgraded to new designs that all species could understand and maintain. Admiral Cho Jae-won served as the first human representative on the reformed Galactic Council. Instead of being the token junior member ignored by alien leaders, he was now an equal voice in all decisions affecting the galaxy's future. The transformation took several years, but eventually a new galactic civilization emerged. The old Confederation, based on species hierarchy and exploitation, was replaced by the Galactic Alliance, where every species contributed according to their abilities and received benefits according to their needs. Human creativity and innovation were no longer taken for granted. When humans solved complex problems or invented new technologies, they received proper recognition and compensation. When alien species made their own contributions, Kethrali mathematical precision, Draknari strategic thinking, Aquarian environmental knowledge, they too were properly valued. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson about the dangers of taking any group for granted. Dr. Kwon Minji's psychological studies showed that the crisis had fundamentally changed how different species viewed cooperation and mutual respect. Before the human withdrawal, most alien species saw cooperation as weakness, she reported to President Song. They believed that exploiting others showed strength and intelligence. The collapse of their civilizations taught them that true strength comes from working together as equals. 5 years after the end of the crisis, Captain Lee Minho attended a special ceremony on Earth. His daughter, Kim Yoo-jin, was graduating from the new Interspecies Academy where human, Kethrali, Zephyrian, and Draknari children learned together as friends and equals.